Hello, everyone. It's good to see you here. Let me start by first thanking the Alliance of Democracies for putting this on. What a true and remarkable effort. I hear 75 countries, 500 people here. Amazing. Let me also thank both of you for letting me share a stage with you. It's a great honor, so thank you for that. At the Bush Institute, where I work in Dallas, Texas, we're addressing today's most pressing challenges. We're doing this by advancing policy, we're developing leaders, and we're taking action. How do we do this? We do this through a series of impact centers. One is what we call domestic excellence, which is focusing more on the United States. But what else we do is we call global leadership, where we're working through our human freedom and women's initiatives to advance human rights, economic and women's empowerment, and democracy around the world. With that, let me introduce I'll briefly introduce, and I'll let you tell your own stories. But first, let me just say, I love the idea of this democracy couch. It's back in the States, that's what we do at home. You know, we welcome someone into your home and you say, take a seat on the couch. Let me get you something to eat. Let me get you something to drink. It's a great concept, an intimate concept, where we get to have a conversation, where you get to tell us your remarkable stories with me and a couple hundred of our closest friends. So thank you for that. Let me start and you very graciously, I'm going to take you up on your offer. Instead of embarrassing myself, I'm going to refer to you as Mr. Chia Liang Kao from Taiwan and Ms. Zainab Sulaiman Umar from Nigeria. Thank you both for being here. Let's start by telling us a little bit about yourselves first. Let's get to know you, and in doing so, if you could, and Chia, we'll start with you, tell us what you're doing right now to promote democracy. And if I may add, when Minister Wu was speaking, I think he brought up a great point, because sometimes when I think about democracy activists, in my mind, I picture someone who is maybe in the middle of a struggle against a regime or is facing some sort of deep oppression. But it's a great reminder that democracy is an ongoing project for all of us. It doesn't stop. There is no finish line. And as Minister Wu had put, you know, Taiwan has fantastic ratings. So if you look at Freedom House and other organizations of just a strong and robust democracy. But you're still doing this work. So if you could, tell us a little bit why you're doing that.
All right. So it all started about 6 years ago when I had a paragliding accident and was stuck in hospital for a couple of weeks. I started looking at what the government was doing. And I was shocked, like they're doing crazy things. Like they air a TV commercial saying, oh, politics or the government affairs are very complicated, economy is very complicated. You, the general people, don't really need to know the details. We'll fix it. Just trust us. Can you imagine that? Airing that TV commercial 40 seconds to tell everyone that you're idiots? Probably not. So basically, I was a software developer, and I started thinking, okay, I'm in hospital now. I have nothing else to do. What can we do to fix democracy, to fix the government? So we started off by calling some of the software developer friends that I know, and then we built like visualizing the government budget to know how the government is actually spending money. So instead of reading 500 pages of PDF, you have an interactive chart to see what's going on. And soon we started the community where you can see it's called Gov0. It's a hack like replacing an O in a GOV with a 0, basically saying we are trying to do like things in a digital way. We're trying to build tools without your permission. We cannot just use the public data and then do things like set an example to say, hey, this would be a modern government or a modern democracy would do. And so that turned out to be very popular. And then we have thousands of contributors, hundreds of projects, which I will probably tell you a bit more later. Mm-hmm. And so basically, we're focusing on using technology to do transparency and then maybe, hopefully, improve democracy. I think the most challenging part is that you can get like 1 million people on the street with modern technology, right? How do you get them to decide on one thing? So we've been asking this question since Arab Spring and all the uprising around the world for the past couple of years, and there's no clear answer yet. So we are, as technologists, we're being too slow, where the authoritarians are mastering the use of the social media or the technology to use it against democracy. So I think that's the current threat that we are facing.
Thank you. Zainab, let me ask you the same question. And it's remarkable because you're a trailblazer. As I understand, you're the first woman who ran for elections in your state. And I just love to hear more about what you're doing to promote democracy.
Well, sometimes I love standing when I'm talking, but since it's okay, I will do it like this. Well, democracy has been defined by several scholars in different aspects and in different ways. But my own perspective, or should I say, my own view on democracy is all about, my view on democracy is all about creating opportunity for positive change in the lives of the people. So what did I do? I try as much as I can to found an NGO, which is Initiative for Public Awareness and Development, which is aimed at eradicating negative vice and promoting development in the society, which I try as much as I can to participate actively in the political system in my country, where I find out a lot of lapses in democracy in my country, which is women are being set back in political participation. So I did what I did in terms of giving awareness to people to understand that women should be given voices to participate in politics. And also, women are being discriminated. So me running for office, I happen to be from the northern part of the country, of my country, which is a religious country. Women are being set back in democracy and participating in politics. So that discrimination was then reduced when I ran for office, and women see that, yes, a young person of just 25 to 26 years ran for office. What are we there to do? Let's come out and help her. And also, due to my participation, more youths come into the system and said, look, this is time for us to give chance to young people that is running for office. So my participation in politics helps discrimination in women political participation and also on the youth part. So lastly, on the part of my NGO and all the works we have been doing, which is part of my help and my promotion of democracy, is that, like I said earlier, I happen to be from the northern part of the country where religion is very, very strict there. There have never been a female State House of Assembly representative in my state, right from the day democracy was born up till date. But unfortunately for me to come out to run for such office, more women see that, yes, it's time. But when I ran, I found out that the religious leaders were trying to talk about women political participation. But I met them and I said, look, this is time for the women and youth to be given the chance to participate. So they now explained that, no, it's not that we don't want women or youth to run for offices or to participate in the political system. But what we looked at is that when you give a woman a chance, this is a religious state. When you give a woman a chance, they will take it for granted and keep doing what is not right. And I said, no, you guys need to explain more on it. And they said women are being given chance, but there are restricted seats which women should not run for. So Anand said, okay, now I understand from that aspect, and I keep giving awareness, and it's what we are doing, and we keep doing it. And I'm not stopping, I just started, and we are going to continue. Thank
Fantastic.
you. Yeah.
And Zainab, you mentioned, well, it was mentioned earlier in one of our previous democracy couches, that the importance of women as role models in a country, for people, for little girls, for other women in the society, to see this happening, to see what you were doing. Could you talk about why that's important?
Well, I'll say it's very, well, like you said, it's very important. Youth, should I say, one of the things that sets women back in running for office, like I said, in my state or country, is that they lack role models. But now, looking at me coming up as a young person and also as a female, to run for offices after all, the challenges and all the steps you need to follow, they see that, yes, I did my politics in a clean way, so they believe that, yes, they are now looking up to me. And the fantastic part of it is that after I ran for office, more youths now are meeting me in my constituency. That is where I reside in Nigeria. They are meeting me that, yes, one of the things that will make us not to run for office all this while is that we see that we don't have chance to run. But with you running for office and the way you are doing the way you are running your political campaign, we want to run for office. There's going to be election in the next 1 year, which is the councillorship election and the chairmanship election. And with me running now, many girls are coming, and I'm mentoring them on how to run and participate fully in the electoral processes.
Thank you. Yes, please. CL, let me go back to you. We talked about what you're doing to promote democracy in your own country, but what are the biggest challenges that you think Taiwan is facing right now in terms of instituting a robust democracy?
Right. Before that, I want to say we do have a female president, and then I think Denmark just got a new PM, right? So the challenges in Taiwan. So I think this is actually universal. We actually, for democracy to work, we need to debate like effectively, right? But this is really hard to scale. You can't. So without technology or with the use of technology that's not helping for debating, it's actually polarizing. And all the issues, we are basically competing for the 5% of the regular people's attention span, right? Where they probably spend on Netflix rather than debating public policies. So I think that is the universal challenge for democracy around the world, where you can't really discuss the issue until it's too late. And when it's too late, and well, you have the huge protest, and then what? So, but for Taiwan specifically, as previously mentioned by Minister Wu, and we are under, well, constant threat from our big neighbor in China, and they're using all the new techniques. And but that's actually not just for Taiwan. There, as you can see, the previous session had a printout for the Chinese influence. They're actually trying to export their surveillance technology, or through core infrastructure such as the 4G or 5G communication infrastructure, to use these to do surveillance or help authoritarian government. And so that would be a threat coming from an authoritarian regime to the democracy community in general.
It's an interesting point, because you look at the negative side of technology and how it can be used against to undermine a democracy. But what I love about what you're doing is you're kind of using this objective tool and making it positive, and I think that's to be commended.
Yes, I think we need to spend more energy and more time on that to see how we can do, not on the defensive front, like how we would like tackle with the disinformation spread with technology, but to see how technology can actually help democracy. A good example is that we have a labor law reform a couple months ago. Actually 2 years ago now. So it was a huge debate because there are different versions of labor regulations. And they're like, it's too complicated. Actually, it's really complicated. So if you can work on weekend or not, if you get overtime pay, or is it legal? So basically, there's a huge debate going on, but no one actually knows all the details. So in the GovZero community, someone just built a calculator. You just put in the regular hours, like how many hours do you work every day regularly? And then it will tell you like the different versions of legislation, what does that have an impact to you? So I see this is a way that democracy should move forward to, like, when we do public policy, and it has to be related to the people. Otherwise, they will have to spend a lot of time to actually understand it, and then figure out, oh, maybe that's not really related to me. So we have to make it personal and make participation, make discussion as lightweight as possible, but not in the sense of Facebook comment or like, but a little bit more than that. But not taking too much of time. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Zainab, let me ask you a very similar question, but for Nigeria, what are the greatest challenges right now that your country is facing?
Well, I love this question. You know why? Because I'm going to talk about it from the political aspect. Because Nigeria is practicing a representative democracy, and I found out that when I ran for office, I understand many challenges facing our democratic system in my country, which are those things that contributed me losing election. I ran twice in the general election, but I've been in activism. But what I understand at long run is that godfatherism politics is one of those things that bring down our democracy in my country, and also money politics. Talking about the godfatherism politics aspect of it is that if you look at the Nigerian government in general, most of the people there are people who know, when you know this person, you get into office. When this person said, Zainab, run for office, you get there, then you get there. I happen to be before from one of the, we have two major political parties in Nigeria, but when I ran for councillorship election, I ran under one big party. But I lost my election because I bought the form, I did all the processes, but they said, look, Zainab, you are too young. You are just 21, 22 years, and you are running for councillorship. There are people who have worked for this party. There are people who they believe they are better than me for them. They said, no, Zainab, you are not going to run this time. You should leave it next time. So I lack Godfather, the person that will say, look, Zainab should be this. But I looked at it very well. I understand that politics is all about your humanitarian activities. What have you done in your community? What have you done in your constituencies? What have you done in your country that will make people to know what you want to do and they are ready to cast their vote for you? So I now looked at what I know I've already done right from when I was very young, like from 18 downward. So Anna said, okay, I've been doing humanitarian activities, I've been doing work, and people knows me very well in my constituency. I'm going to still run for this office. So I ran, but I lost during the primary election. But when I ran during the the State House of Assembly election, which was early this year, I understand that I still ran in the same party, but they didn't give me the ticket. Again, I lost during the primaries, but I looked at something and I said, being in a bigger party does not determine you winning election. What you have done at your grassroots level is one of those things that people will look at and vote for you. So I left the big party and I go for a smaller party, which I built the party. I did all what is take, and I did my primary election with 2 boarded men, but I won the ticket, become the first female candidate of first female State House of Assembly candidate in my state. So after I ran for the office, I understand now, I said godfatherism. So then I now become a candidate now. I looked at it, I did all the political part, I did all the campaign, all the awareness and everything. But one of the challenges I now face later is that as a young person, I don't have enough money to do the political things. But at long run, I said, I'm not going to do the bad side of politics just because I want to get into office. I'm going to make this politics to be a clean politics. As such, I said, okay, I'm not going to do what the big men are doing because it's a challenge to our democracy, it's bringing our democracy down. People don't participate because there's no money, you don't have Godfather. Now I am now a candidate. So Anand said, okay, let me do the next step. I still follow the process. I become the candidate and I did all what is done, but I lost again. So the reason why I'm saying this is that when you try, you know what is happening, then you solve the problem. As I try and I become the candidate, I now know that money politics is one of those things that bring down youth and women political participation. So, Anand said, okay, since, in my country, sorry to say this, I'm not happy saying this, but as low as $1, which is equivalent to 315 naira in my country, people sell their vote at 15 naira, which is as low, it's not even up to $1 in my country, which is vote buying. And I can't just buy your vote because I want you to vote for me. I want you to vote for me. I want you to vote for me, for what you know I would do. I've been doing humanitarian activities. What if I get there? What do you expect from me? Are the people given chance to vote for whom they believe, which is what is killing our democracy down? The people are given chance to cast their vote sometimes, and sometimes they are not given chance to do that. Like there are some certain situations with people, even when you come out to vote, you are being get back because of violence. I'm giving you the points out, so I'm explaining more about it. Because of violence, people don't come out sometimes to vote. Okay, when I give you the chance, as when you come out to vote, cast your vote for the person you want to be your leader. Here now, I'll make this. It's not all about your vote, the vote casted. It's all about who is counting the vote. If you cast your vote and you leave, during the counting process, I become the 3rd position when I ran for this State House of Assembly. I would have won. I know I won, but it was taken from me because I don't have a strong godfather that will stand and said, yes, this girl won her election and she should be given her mandate. But unfortunately, I know the system is all over like that, but we are trying as much as we can to do it. That's why I said I created this my own NGO just because I want to make a positive impact in my community, in my constituency, in Kano State, that is my state, and in Nigeria at large. And I want it to touch the world. I want it to be global because I'm giving this to the youth now and all the people present here that you can build, you can shape your democracy in your own way. You can do different things. You must not just stand up and participate in politics. Start from somewhere. Do humanitarian activities. When you do that, you understand that, yes, this is what my constituency needs. So if I go into politics, I know where to start from.
Thank you, Zainab. And I got to say, you actually stole some of my thunder, because I was going to ask, is there a message you would like to give to activists out there, a message of hope or inspiration? And I think it's important that they know they're not alone, that there are other people struggling with those issues. So since you already answered that.
I didn't answer it completely.
So please. And I was going to ask Seal the same thing, but I'll let you answer that.
I'll complete mine. You ask him then, or should I?
No, so if Seal would like to go.
Yeah. So basically, what we did in GovZero is the similar thing happened everywhere in the world. It's called the civic tech community, the civic tech movement. And where Taiwan is particularly vibrant, one of the reasons is that we have attracted a lot of software developers who are able to work in the open source way, that work with the CSOs in a way that is a very efficient way to collaborate, to work on issues, a new way to solve issues. So I think that, because we are facing a lot of challenges introduced by technology, and we need to do it by developing our technology to basically improve democracy. So that would be my suggestions, like work with technologists, and yeah.
No, it's fine. Now let me. Oh no, you said you had more to add. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay then. What I'll just add is that, like you said you wanted asking me of what I'm going to give advice to the youth, and I made mention of some part of it. There are some certain things the youth too need to look at. You can't just wake up one day and say, yes, I want to do this. You need to start from somewhere. There are some places you need to look at. There are some things you need to do. In Nigeria, group of youth wake up one day and said, yes, this is time for the youth to come out. We vote at the age of 18. Okay, let the youth be given the chance to run for office at the age of 18, 25, 18 to 25, then 25 to 30. Which the bill was signed into law. And these are just youth who wake up one day and do it. So you can do your own work in different way. Now what I'm working on in my country, I'm going to just tell you, even my country, I've not said it out, but I'm going to give it out here because I want more youth to know that there are some certain things you have to do. You have it in you. You can do more than other people are doing. You can do more than me. So you should just wake up and say, let me see, what am I capable of doing? There's this thing that in my country, when the ballot paper is being given, you just see just the party logo and the name of the party. There's no, should I say, picture of the person running for such offices. And what I'm trying to do now is, how can pictures be put in ballot paper so people will understand that this is the person they want to vote for? Because after I run for office, I understand that, okay, I ran for office, I did everything, but the people, most of the votes that comes out from election is from the rural part of my country. The rural people are the ones that vote a lot. But sometimes they will know that this is Zainab running for office, but they don't actually know which one is the logo or which one is the party of Zainab. So when they see the picture of Zainab, they will definitely say, yes, this is the person we want to vote for. So people sometimes vote for people they don't even want to be their leader mistakenly, just because they don't understand just because they don't understand who they are supposed to vote for. So these are things that you need to engage. Look at the problems of your community. Like now in my community, there's many children, out of school children, and I'm trying to take them back to school. So look at your community. What is the problem of your community? Try as much as I can to find solutions to such problems and solve them. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we're out of time, but please join me in thanking CL and Zainab.